السلام عليكم. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. We're doing Surat AlMutafifeen today. You guys, we have 5 more surahs after this one, inshallah. And I'm guessing it might take about 5 weeks and we will be done. 6 weeks if we include today, but 5 more weeks, inshallah. Surat AlMutafifeen is there is a difference of opinion of whether or not it is a Makki surah or a Madani surah. Let me share my screen with you guys. There's a difference of opinion whether it is a Makki surah or a Madani surah, but basically the opinion that it is a Madani surah, that it was revealed in Medina after the Hijrah, is the strongest opinion, and that's because Ibn Abbas, he narrates that the purpose of revelation is that the people of Medina used to be among the cheat, like they used to cheat in business. They used to do business, but they used to cheat in the transactions. But then when this surah was revealed, they stopped doing that. And then Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he narrates that there is a man, a specific man that used to have, whenever he would measure for people, whatever he's selling, he used to have one scale to measure what he's selling and one scale to measure what he is getting, right? And obviously, like, he would cheat in the scale where he is selling or buying so that it works for his favor, right? Not in the favor of the person he is buying from. So let's go ahead and listen to the actual surah and follow along, inshallah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ويل للمطففين الذين إذا اكتالوا على الناس يستوفون وإذا كالوهم أو وزنوهم يخسرون ألا يظن أولئك أنهم مبعوثون ليوم عظيم يوم يقوم الناس لرب العالمين كلا إن كتاب الفجار لفي سجين وما أدراك ما سجين كتاب مرقوم ويل يومئذ للمكذبين الذين يكذبون بيوم الدين وما يكذب به إلا كل معتد أثيم إذا تتلى عليه آياتنا قال أساطير الأولين كلا بل ران على قلوبهم ما كانوا يكسبون كلا إنهم عن ربهم يومئذ لمحجوبون ثم إنهم لصالو الجحيم ثم يقال هذا الذي كنتم به تكذبون كلا إن كتاب الأبرار لفي عليين وما أدراك ما عليون كتاب مرقوم يشهده المقربون إن الأبرار لفي نعيم على الأرائك ينظرون تعرف في وجوههم نضرة النعيم يسقون من رحيق مختوم ختامه مسك وفي ذلك فليتنافس المتنافسون ومزاجه من تسنيم عينا يشرب بها المقربون إن الذين أجرموا كانوا من الذين آمنوا يضحكون وإذا مروا بهم يتغامزون وإذا انقلبوا إلى أهلهم انقلبوا فكهين وإذا رأوهم قالوا إن هؤلاء لضالون وما أرسلوا عليهم حافظين فاليوم الذين آمنوا من الكفار يضحكون على الأرائك ينظرون هل ثوب الكفار ما كانوا يفعلون.
Bonjour, my friends always ask how I stay so elegant.
Oops. Alright, so رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Some of the objectives of the surah is the dangers of cheating in transactions. Why do people cheat and deceive? Who are the worst of, the wicked, like the bad people, and some of what will happen to them, and then the righteous and some of what will happen to them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. وَيْلٌ لِلْمُطَفِّفِينَ. Woe to those who do tatfif. And tatfif basically means cheating or defrauding or doing something in such a manner where you're hiding the reality from the other person who has an interest in it, who has an interest in knowing what you're hiding, right? So let's say you're measuring like onions. This person is trying to buy 5 kilos of onions. You measure it, but then you make it so that you sell them 4 instead of 5 but you played with the scale. So it doesn't show the reality. It doesn't show the reality that it was actually 4. It shows the person that it was 5. But that's because you played with the scale. You did something to the scale so that now they're not seeing the truth, right? And they pay you for 5 kilos instead of the 4 kilos. But so this is what mutaffif will do. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, wail is for them. And wail, according to Ibn Abbas, is a valley in hellfire where it's below everybody, and everybody who's getting punished, their pus, the blood, and everything that comes out of them goes down to this valley. So people, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says wail is like a horrible place in the fire that these people will be in. It's extreme punishment. Alladina, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues to describe them. Who are they? إِذَا اكْتَالُوا عَلَى النَّاسِ يَسْتَوْفُونَ. Whenever they measure for others, they get their full amount. Whatever that is owed to them, they get it in full. Whatever that they need from this person, they will want to get it in full. So let's say I owe you $10, and they're going to make sure that they get their $10, not missing a penny. وَإِذَا كَالُوهُمْ أَوْ وَزَنُوهُمْ يُخْسِرُونَ. Whenever they measure for them or whenever they weigh something for them, they cheat. يُخْسِرُونَ is that they cause the other person to lose. Okay? They cheat to causing the other person to lose something. And I know these verses speaking specifically about selling and buying. And but however, the Prophet ﷺ, there is a hadith where he talks about a person can do this in their salah, a person can do this in their wudu, where they do not fulfill, they don't complete the obligations. They don't make their full wudu. Like they will not go all the way up here. They will not do it, like they will cheat something. And basically this is somebody who when something is owed to them, they want to get their full amount though, right? When they're making dua, they want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to answer it for them completely. But when Allah calls them to do something, they will not do it to the fullest, to their fullest ability, to their fullest capacity. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَلَا يَظُنُّ أُولَٰئِكَ أَنَّهُمْ مَبْعُوثُونَ. Do they not think, do these not know that they will be resurrected, that they will be resurrected and that they will be brought out of their graves? For what? لِيَوْمٍ عَظِيمٍ, for a great day. What is that day? يَوْمَ يَقُومُ النَّاسُ لِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ, on the day where people will stand for the caretaker of all that existed, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On the day where, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he describes that this day a person will be swimming in their sweat. That's how hot it'll be. That's how scary it'll be. We will be presented to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These people they act in such a way where they're not mindful of that day. It's as if it's not going to happen. That's the way they deal with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Allah speaks about them, He says, Ulaika, those, He distanced them. Verses, remember how a couple of weeks ago we were talking about I think of what, I can't remember his name, but the companion who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses in Surat Al-Mumtahina by saying, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, la tattakhidhu aduwi wa aduwakum awliya. This companion committed a sin, yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses him by saying, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, O you who believe. And He talks about forgiveness and how He will forgive him. Yet in here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala distanced those who act in this way because they are extreme in their sin, and we will talk about it here. We'll go back. There are some videos that I have for us, but we'll go back and do it. They are extreme in their sin, and they act like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not even aware of them. Actually, let's watch these. Did you guys see what happened? Did you guys see what happened right there? Yes, subhanallah. Subhanallah. I was listening to a sheikh talk about his experience traveling, and he said that he went to a city in Saudi, and the people there, they like, there was a seller. I don't know if it was a group of people, but it was a seller. The seller would do the opposite. He would make sure that everybody who bought from him got a little bit extra, just so that he is never questioned about this person, you owed them a little bit more, you know? And here we have people who will cheat to that extent, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. This is quite interesting.
Unfortunately, cheating is very widespread in business schools. We have some pretty good data on that, and it turns out that it's more prevalent in business schools than it is in other majors. This is true both for undergraduates and for graduate students. So if you compare, for example, MBAs to other kinds of graduate students, or if you compare undergraduate business students to other majors in undergraduate programs, you find that the prevalence is higher. Unfortunately, cheating is very widespread throughout higher education, but it is somewhat higher in business schools.
There was, let's skip one. No.
We don't have any data about why it's more prevalent in business schools or in business programs, but people have speculated about that it might have something to do with who's attracted to business schools in the first place, or it might have something to do with the training and the environment that we actually create and provide. There's some evidence that as students move through a business program, they actually become more interested in their own bottom line, more greedy perhaps, more competitive. And so those might be contributing factors, but we don't really have data to support that. In our research, we found that the biggest factor influencing students' self-reported cheating, and these studies are always self-reported cheating, was the perception that other people are doing it. So it becomes the norm in the environment, and they look around, they see other people doing it, and they decide to do it themselves. Doesn't seem so bad, other people are doing it, they're not getting caught. It's very competitive. I need to worry about getting that job or getting into that grad school program. But the most important factor was just this perception that everyone's doing it.
So what kind of, imagine the kind of, let me see here. Let me see what you guys are saying. Is she referring to cheating in school, as in class, etc., or the tuition? Okay, no, she's referring to cheating in exams and assignments and things of that nature. And inshallah, in a little bit, you'll see why I put them all together. But basically, when it comes to, let me fix this, yeah. When it comes to cheating, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing any time that you're hiding something and making it seem like, so that it works to your favor, right? And that you're taken away from the right of the other person. And yes, remember how we said it's Allah is speaking specifically here, like mikyal is the wazn, is the scale. But when you're measuring, like it still applies to your salah, it still applies to your exam, still applies to anything that you try to hide so that you can make it work for your benefit and not for the benefit of the other person, okay? You're eager to get the grades, so you cheat. And the teacher doesn't know, if the teacher knew, you obviously would not get that grade that you got, right? And it's, subhanAllah, like what I keep thinking about is, she mentioned the competition, and we'll see how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses that too. كَلَّا إِنَّ كِتَابَ الْفُجَّارِ لَفِي سِجِّينٍ. Rather, the book of the extreme sinners, the most wicked, is in a place called Sijjin. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا سِجِّينٍ. Whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this, it's usually emphasizing the word Sijjin. Usually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes and explains what Sijjin is after, or like whenever he says وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ, he usually explains. Yet here, he doesn't explain. Kitabun Marqum does not explain what Sijjin is. The meaning of the word Sijjin is something that is in the lowest part of the earth, something really, really low. When a person is put in prison, that is called Sijin. Okay, it's called Sijin. So the person, their book is in a place in which it will not get out, that is it's under the ground, it's in a very far place under the ground. Kitabun Marqum, it's a book that has recorded everything. Marqum is recorded, raqam, like it's recorded, okay? It has recorded everything, it did not leave anything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was well aware, the angels were writing everything. وَيْلٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ. Like again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows the punishment. The most severe punishment is for those who denied. الَّذِينَ يُكَذِّبُونَ بِيَوْمِ الدِّينِ. Those who denied the day where they will be held accountable. The day they will be put to the test. وَمَا يُكَذِّبُ بِهِ إِلَّا كُلُّ مُعْتَدٍ أَثِيمٍ. No one lies about this day. No one denies this day except for a transgressor that is extreme in their sin. Athim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the word athim, and it basically means someone who has sinned so much that this is second nature to them. They don't even ask themselves, is what I'm doing wrong? And usually cheaters start the same way. The first time they're nervous, but then eventually with time, it's like, it's the easiest thing for them. They're not even nervous anymore. They're not even nervous about how they're doing it. They're not even nervous about what if I get caught. They don't care about that. It doesn't concern them. And subhanAllah, I knew someone that I remember like looking at them when they're cheating in an exam, and it was like I used to wonder, like, how is this person so comfortable doing it? Like, the teacher could look any minute, like, what are they doing? To the point where this person eventually never graduated because of the cheating that they kept on getting caught and dismissed from the university, you know, to the point where they lost their degree. They lost the opportunity to get their degree. What if you just worked hard and tried to earn that degree with honesty, you know? So being mindful of that, subhanAllah. Let me make sure I covered everything in that slide. Yes, I did. All right. إِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ, Allah is still continuing in describing them. When they are reminded, like when they are told, وَإِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُنَا, when our verses, when our signs are recited to them, they say, قَالُوا أَسَاطِيرُ الْأَوَّلِينَ قَالَ أَسَاطِيرُ الْأَوَّلِينَ. This is the legends, like this, the tales of the people of the old. Like, I'm not going to listen to this. This is useless. كَلَّا بَلْ, rather, رَانَ عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ مَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. Their hearts have become rusted because of all the sins that they were committing. Their hearts became completely black. Remember how the Prophet ﷺ, he tells us that whenever a person commits a sin, a black dot is formed on their heart. And the more they do that, the more the black dot is formed on their heart, to the point where the heart becomes completely dark. Then nothing benefits it. They hear the reminders, but they don't care. They don't pay heed, you know. One of the scholars, he said that the sins are like, it's like holding a needle and taking it and poking your heart every time that you commit a sin, to the point where there are so many holes. When the reminder hits the heart, a reminder leaves from the other side. The person does not benefit from it because the heart has been completely ruined because of all the sins, right? And that's the place where a person heeds something. That's the place of understanding. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَإِنَّهَا لَا تَعْمَى الْأَبْصَارُ وَلَكِنْ تَعْمَى الْقُلُوبُ الَّتِي فِي الصُّدُورِ. It is not the eyes that become blind, it is the hearts that become blind. And so after the heart is blind, a person will no longer benefit from any reminder. So it doesn't matter what you tell them, they will continue in their way. It doesn't matter how much you reason with them, how much you try to scare them, how much you try to say, like, this is not good, they will continue in their way. Now, the lady talked about in that video, she talked about people in business school are most likely to cheat. Can you imagine who these people become when they go in the market? They are the ones that are running corporations, stores, managing, you know, and if they are the ones that are in charge, then can you imagine they're going to the banks, they are managing money, you know, they're managing their affairs. They are the ones that we trust with, like the stock market, we trust them with our money and our investments. Who do they become and what do they do? You know, what is the end result of what kind of a society do we have? You know, and how much should a person trust who they're investing their money in? And so may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from ever being cheated on. And because subhanAllah, it's, I can't imagine, like, remember a few years ago, the Enron situation where people lost their whole lives' investments? I can't imagine, like, how it would feel that you saved your hard-earned money to benefit you and benefit your family, and then someone walks away with it, or someone cheats you and is gone with it. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us and protect our wealth. Kalla, so Allah continues, what happens to these people whose hearts became so rusted with sins because of what they used to earn? Kalla innahum an rabbihim yawma idhin lamahjubun. This is the worst of the punishments. They will never get to meet with Allah. They will never get to see Allah. On that day, there is a covering between them and Allah. They will not even be able to see Him. And can you imagine, like, you know, we work so hard for the day where we lay eyes on Allah and meet with Him and say, Ya Rabbi, Here I am. Finally, you have been taking care of me. Finally, I meet with you and I present my amal to you. And on that day, these people are covered. The people of Jannah, they get to see Allah on weekly basis. Some of them, they get to see Allah twice a day or twice a week because of how good, like how they're in an elevated state, right? They're in a higher place. May Allah make us among them, Ya Rabbil Alameen. May Allah make us among them. ثم إنهم لصال الجحيم. Then they will be roasted in the fire. ثم يقال هذا الذي كنتم به تكذبون. Then it will be said to them, this is what you used to deny. This is the end result of what you used to deny. Let me come back. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to take a quick break to drink. Bismillah. My throat is very dry today. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes to the second part of the second section of the surah, and here now he's praising the righteous, right? كَلَّا إِنَّ كِتَابَ الْأَبْرَارِ لَفِي عِلِّيِّينَ. Rather, the book of the abrar. Abrar is the righteous. That comes from the root word bir, right? Which bir or bar is also bar, is the land, it's the earth, it's the we are either on bar or water. So, and you know the water is moving, it's not stable, whereas the bar, when you get to the land part, it's stable, it's calm, it's stable, it's settled. So the person who's righteous, they are settled, they are calm, and they are settled with their behavior and actions. It became a part of them. كَلَّا إِنَّ كِتَابَ الْأَبْرَارِ لَفِي عِلِّيِّينَ. It is in the highest of places. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا عِلِّيُّونَ. Allah doesn't explain it. He says, كِتَابٌ مَرْقُومٌ. It's a book that has everything recorded. Okay? عِلِّيُّون, some of عِلِّيُّون, I think I might have. So there's a difference of opinion about Aliyun, the right leg of the throne of Allah, or the Jannah, or the seventh earth, or the seventh heaven, or Sidrat al-Muntaha. All of that was mentioned in the Tafseer. Aliyun is generally a high place, vast, like a high and vast, extremely vast. So basically, you know how the kitab of the Fujjar, their book was in Sijjin, in the lowest of the earth. Here, their book is in the highest of places. Okay? Kitab yashhaduhu al-muqarrabun. Who is a witness on this book? Al-muqarrabun, those who are most near. Who are they? According to the Tafseer, they are the angels by Ibn Abbas. According to Ibn Abbas, he says they are the angels. Oh, mashallah, tabarakallah, subhanallah. May Allah make us amongst the people of Jannah. Inna al-abrar lafi na'im. The righteous are in bliss, in complete happiness, in complete joy. Ala al-ara'iki yanzurun. They are sitting on their couches, they're reclining. Hopefully they are those that, that give you a little bit of a massage. They extend your legs. This is Jannah, man. It's not going to be like anything that... the best of the couches that I'm familiar with is nothing compared to the couches of Jannah. So we are on these couches, yanzurun, they are looking. What are they looking at? There's a hadith where Ibn Umar, he says that the person who has the least amount in Jannah will look at their kingdom, will look at what they own, and it's as if like you can walk through it 1,000 years. So he will see the end of it as just like he will see the beginning of it. وَإِنَّ أَعْلَاهُمْ لَمَنْ يَنْظُرُ إِلَى اللَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ فِي الْيَوْمِ مَرَّتَيْنِ. And that the one who is in the highest levels of Jannah is the one who will see Allah every day twice. Every day they get to see Allah twice. So this person is عَلَى الْأَرَائِكِ يَنْظُرُونَ. What are they looking at? The one who has the least amount in Jannah is looking at their kingdom, just sitting on their couch and watching. The other person is looking at Allah twice a day. What a blessing. And we all get to see Allah once a week, but may Allah make us of those who are so near to Him. What will we do that will earn us that nearness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? That nearness in place to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What kind of a person do I have to be? What kind of amal do I need to come with? تعرف في وجوههم نضرة النعيم. You will see, you will recognize on their faces the glow of the people who have been blessed, right? يسقون من رحيق مختوم. When they are being given a drink, the drink that they are given is called, it's a sealed like wine, it's a sealed nectar, I'm thinking, but it's a sealed wine. Rahiq, it's a nectar, it's like a drink. Makhtoom, it's sealed, it is like no one has opened it before. No one has ever opened it before. Khitamuhu misk, what sealed it is misk. It's that, it's musk. وَفِي ذَلِكَ فَلْيَتَنَافَسِ الْمُتَنَافِسُونَ. For that, let people compete with one another. Because in the previous set of verses, those people, the people who earned the fire, AlMutafifeen, they earned it because they were competing. They were in a competition. That competition, though, was for the sake of dunya, for the sake of higher income, for the sake of higher grades, for the sake of their bottom line, like the lady was saying. But when it comes to the people of Jannah, let them compete for this kind of bliss. What will they do then? They will pray more. They will pay more sadaqah, they will be more honest, they will cleanse their heart more, they will forgive others more, they will do all the things that grant them Jannah more. And when they do it, they will compete with one another in such a way where they'll come and say, Zainab, how many rak'ahs of sunnah did you pray yesterday? You know what? She'll tell me how much she prayed, and I will say, today I'm going to try to beat you, and I'm going to try to do a little bit more. Zainab, how many days did you fast last month? You know what? I'm going to try to do more. This is competition for the sake of Allah. There is nothing wrong with it. In fact, Allah wants us to do it. And in fact, it gives us motivation. It gives us motivation to work towards something in that nature. So, وَمِزَاجُهُ مِن تَسْنِيمٍ. This drink that they're going to have, it has been mixed with something called tasneem. And you guys know how many little girls do you know named Tasneem? This is where it's coming from. عَيْنًا يَشْرَبُ بِهَا الْمُقَرَّبُونَ. Allah is explaining what tasneem is. Tasneem is a well or a spring of water. Who drinks from it? The most near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So Allah takes a little bit of that water, of that spring, and He mixes in with this drink that they're going to have. So the drink they're going to have, these amazing people, isn't all tasneem. No, it has a little mix of tasneem in it, just to kind of give it a kick the flavor, basically, MashaAllah, tabarakallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among them. And these people, yusqawna, they will be given a drink. It will be handed to them. It will be given to them. Who's giving it to them? The angels? Is it the servants? Is it Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allah ta'ala a'lam. But they will be given this drink. Let me make sure. Okay. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ أَجْرَمُوا. Allah goes back to the other group now. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ أَجْرَمُوا كَانُوا مِنَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا يَضْحَكُونَ. Those who were, severe in committing their sins, whenever they used to see the righteous, the believers, they used to laugh. وَإِذَا مَرُّوا بِهِمْ يَتَغَامَزُونَ. And whenever they walked by them, they would look at one another and they would wink at each other and they would say, they would laugh to themselves. وَإِذَا انْقَلَبُوا إِلَىٰ أَهْلِهِمْ انْقَلَبُوا فَكِهِينَ. Whenever they went back to their families, they went back in a state of joy, in a state of happiness. وَإِذَا رَأَوْهُمْ. Whenever they see them, قَالُوا إِنَّ هَؤُلَاءِ لَضَالُّونَ. Those are misguided. Those are not, they're not living this dunya according to the laws of dunya. They're living according to laws that we don't believe in, and because of it, they're misguided. Right? وَمَا أُرْسِلُوا عَلَيْهِمْ حَافِظِينَ. Allah says, He never sent them to hold their account. Allah never sent them to be guardian over them. So it's none of your business. Nobody made you responsible for them. It's none of your business what they do. But then guess what? The scene is flipped. The scene is flipped. فاليوم today الذين آمنوا من الكفار يضحكون. Those who they are laughing and they are rejoicing over the disbelievers. على الأرائك ينظرون. They're sitting on their couches, they're reclining, they're watching. هل ثوب الكفار ما كانوا يفعلون. The disbelievers, have they been given the reward of what they have earned? Did they get repaid well? May Allah protect us. May Allah protect us. Basically, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is saying, just like they used to laugh at you, you will have the opportunity to laugh at them. Just like they used to watch you and wink, now you're going to do it, but it's not even, it's على الأرائك ينظرون. They're sitting on the couches and they're watching you. And they're going to be asked, have they been paid? Have they been has justice been served today? You know? And this is the end of the surah. SubhanAllah, this surah is really calling us to think about our actions. I remember when we did it, one sister literally closed down her business and completely changed her business model because it made her feel iffy. And she was like, you know what? I don't want to even have a single ounce of a doubt. So she closed her business, reopened it, completely changed her model, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had blessed it for her afterwards. Even though initially there was some loss of income, and you think like, you know, how is this going to work? I'm completely going against what the market is doing. But guess what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes care of those who وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقْهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. The one who has is like, you know, whose consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will provide for him from a place he never thought was even possible. So thinking about that, thinking about what is it that we are, how are we dealing in our transactions? Now, something that falls under this is also our working hours, us fulfilling the amana of how many hours have I worked. You know, like you get paid for 40 hours a week. Do you really do the work of 40 hours a week? Or are you taking extra breaks? Are you taking extra lunch time? Are you coming to work late while you're being paid? Are you leaving early while you're being paid? All of these things that make you question. And, you know, like we came to ask ourselves too, if you are salary and some days you do get to leave early, you do get to work 36 hours because there are other weeks where you are expected to pull in like 50 hours instead of 40 hours and you only get paid for that 40 hours. So eventually it balances out, right? Now it's about being conscious and honest. Is what you're doing completely open with your management? Is it open, completely transparent? You know, are you transparent in the way that you come to work, leave work, do your work and meet your obligations? Are you completely transparent? Also, let me come back to you. Looks like you guys have. That's fine because when you're bargaining, you're like, let's say I am selling this item, you bargain with me and I've accepted to take a loss of $1. So I sell it to you for $4 instead of $5. I accepted that I will take the loss, you know, and we agreed on it. It's not, I didn't cheat you, you didn't cheat me. And I took the loss, which is fine. And you paid the full amount and that is okay. The other person, they did not bargain. They did not ask me for a discount. So they paid the $5. And alhamdulillah, this is barakah, you know? So that's completely fine because al-bay' wa shira is whatever the price that the two people, it's the business transaction in Islam, it's whatever the seller and the buyer agree upon. So if we agreed upon it, then alhamdulillah. So there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah, if the agreement is there's nothing wrong with it. Yes, after the agreement, if you're hiding something, then that's when it becomes problematic. I'm worried I'm coming down with something, like my throat is so dry and itchy. Okay. So some of the manners in the so here in this section, I'm covering like an extra section about the manners of buying, selling, and working, okay? And also being a student, it falls under this. Consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being completely mindful of Allah, that He is present at all times. There was a sheikh who was listening to Sheikh Ratib bin Abulsi, and he said, if a person is like a cashier and they're being trained on the first day and they're told that, you know, whenever their manager steps away, he tells them there's a camera right there, it's always looking at you. How will their behavior be whenever the manager is not there? They would act and they would do whatever that would please the manager. He said similarly, being mindful that Allah has raqaba over us at all times is like that. It's knowing that there's a camera right there that is always watching me and it's always reporting to Allah. It's Allah Himself, right? Allah is always looking at me and is always watching over me. And the angels are always there to write down everything that I do. So having that lens, right? Never forgetting it. And then another thing is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the people who do business. رِجَالٌ لَا تُلْهِيهِمْ تِجَارَةٌ وَلَا بَيْعٌ عَنْ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ يَخَافُونَ يَوْمًا تَتَقَلَّبُ فِيهِ الْقُلُوبُ وَالْأَبْصَارِ. There are men or people who neither trade or business distracts them from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are worried about a day where the hearts will flip. تَتَقَلَّبُ فِيهِ. They fear a day where the hearts will and the sights will be overturned. Okay, like the day of judgment. They are so worried about that day that they will not do anything that will question their safety on that day. They will not compromise and do anything that will question their safety on that day. Do you think there's a difference in how we conduct transactions with Muslims versus non-Muslims? Now, I ask this question because sadly, there are people who believe that if you cheat a non-Muslim, it's okay, right? And this is haram. This is not okay. You're not allowed to cheat a Muslim, a kafir, an animal. You're not allowed to cheat anybody. You know, cheating is not befitting. The Prophet ﷺ says, "Man ghashana falaysa minna." Whoever cheats us is not from amongst us. He's not from us. Questioning your deen, questioning your iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's big. That's big. And Allah, you know, like how we said, Allah is distancing people who do this behavior. He says, ulaika, those, you know, whereas the man who committed a sin, still Allah referred to him by, O people, O you who believe, right? So it's a serious thing. How is school and studying related to buying and selling and working? Because you're eventually going to say, I've done my work and I'm qualified to do this work. When in reality, someone else did your work. Someone else put the effort. You know what I mean? Like you're not as prepared for this position that you're holding because you cheated. And wallahi, like cheating in school is so prevalent. It's so prevalent, you know. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from that. A person who I think Sheikh Ratib bin Abulsi was talking about a person who will engage in all kinds of worship, but when it comes to being in the market, it's as if Allah does not exist. You know, they will cheat, they will lie, they will do whatever it takes to make more money, and this is greed. You know, this is like the highest level of greed, where you're not even, you think your earnings and your money comes because you have to put the effort. Where here we have to put into account the barakah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know. Another thing is, what is your intention? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in a hadith in Bukhari, whoever takes money from people with the intention of fulfilling their obligation, Allah will allow them to fulfill the obligation, so they will not have to feel guilty. You know, they will not have to feel bad. Like, to be honest, like right now, many of you have already completed paying for this course. Yet, there came a time when I couldn't fulfill when I got sick, And like whenever something happens, I'm always feeling like I need to finish this course because people have already paid for it. Like they've paid me, and now I need to complete. And it's like it creates a stress. And so this is a reminder for me that Allah, if I am sincere about that intention to fulfill the payment, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will, whoever takes the wealth of the people with the intention of corruption, Allah corrupts them. May Allah protect me from that. But I hope this like an example to show you what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala means, or the hadith means. There's a hadith in Bukhari as well. No one ever eats anything better than what their own hands have earned. Meaning like it's halal. It's you worked for it, you earned it. You didn't cheat and receive it by cheating the system. Luqman, the righteous, wise man who's mentioned in the Quran, he advises his son and he says to him, "Oh my son, seek halal earning, because if you are in poverty, you will experience compromise in your deen, weakness in intelligence, your sense of honor will leave you, and worst of all, the people will belittle you." People will belittle you. Change it on your screen. So meaning, don't be in a state of poverty, because people who are in a state of poverty, they are so in need that they could compromise their morals. Like subhanallah, Sheikh Abdul Nasser Janta was explaining when we make the dua, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min dala' ad-dayn, that I seek protection from how dain or being like owing something, like being in debt, how it can bend your morals, how it can bend you. Why it can bend you? Because you're so desperate to get rid of it. So when you're in a state of poverty, you're so desperate for what you don't have, that these things happen to you. Hadith in Tabarani, could your hard work and energy be for the sake of Allah? So the companions, they saw a man who was working really hard, and they said, Ya Rasulullah, could all of this be for the sake of Allah? And then the Prophet ﷺ said, where is it? If he is doing this to seek sustenance for his little children, then this is for the sake of Allah. So your hard work, if it is for the sake of feeding your children, then this is for the sake of Allah. If you're doing it seeking sustenance for himself and for his own self-respect, so that you're not put in a state of humiliation, then this is for the sake of Allah. And if you are doing it to just appease yourself, then this is for the sake of shaitan, right? So realize, like all of us that wake up 8 o'clock in the morning to get ready for work and go to work, and they're grinding the 9 to 5, they're holding side businesses, or they're working. All this work, if you are doing it just so that you're not in a place where you are in need of someone else's help, if you are doing it for that, so that you could take care of your family and yourself and your children, then this is for the sake of Allah, right? This is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Isn't that beautiful, you guys? SubhanAllah. Another like some of the important etiquettes is make your daily schedule one that balances deen and dunya. So don't start your day praying Fajr. Don't start your day thinking about, I need to do this for my business. So prioritize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Make it around your work schedule. Don't make it around your ibadah schedule is what I mean. Don't say, oh, well, I'm going to go to Friday prayer if I get the break. No, make it part of your stipulation. Like every Friday, I need to go for Jum'ah. Is that going to be possible for me? Can you please let me do that? So making it so that your deen comes before your earning, right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not give us a worship schedule that makes it difficult to earn income and live a good life. Allah did not give us a worship schedule that makes us poor. He did not. In fact, if you prioritize the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and like your daily salawat and your salatul jum'ah if you're a man, you will have all the barakah that you could ask for. Increase your dhikr. Okay, increase your dhikr of Allah when you are in the market. So there's a hadith where the Prophet ﷺ says the most hated the most hated places in the sight of Allah is the market, and that's where the shaitan puts his flag. That's the place where shaitan is happiest, because he's going to tempt people to do all kinds of sin. Okay, the most beloved places to Allah are the masajid, and the most hated places is the marketplace. Also, there is a hadith we say, so the Prophet ﷺ tells us, whoever says this dua, Allah will wipe 1,000,000 bad deeds from his record and grant him 1,000,000 good deeds, and will elevate him in 1,000,000 degrees of virtue. In another narration it adds, and build for him a house in Jannah. Okay, so what is this dua? This is a dua that you say when you enter the souk, when you enter the market, when you go to the mall, when you go to Cub Food, when you go to the Target. There are people who go to Target and all their money is gone because, subhanAllah, I'm thinking now about this, is that the people who set up the markets, they use psychological tricks to get you to buy things that you don't need. Why? Because it benefits them. They make more money, right? So the way they sell their products, the way they position them, especially like when I was thinking right now about Target and any of those markets, when you're leaving at the end counter, they will put eye level things that children will be gravitated to: chocolate, sweets, candy, you name it, things that the children will end up crying for. They will put things that you might not want. Oh, you know what? Like this is discounted. Like, this is the price has gone down like 50% or 75% down. Do you need it though? Is this something that you actually need? So ask yourself before you buy, when you go into the market, saying this dua, La ilaha illallah, none has the right to be worshipped, wahdahu la sharika lahu, him alone, he has no partners, lahul mulk wa lahul hamd, to him belongs everything, and to him belongs all the praise and gratitude. Yuhyi wa yumeet, he brings life and he causes death, wa huwa hayyun la yamut, and he's ever living and he never dies. بيده الخير, in his hand is all the goodness. وهو على كل شيء قدير, and he is capable upon everything. Saying this dua, internalize. This dua used to be really hard for me, but the last time I taught this surah, I was like, you know what? I'm definitely going to memorize it. Alhamdulillah, I have it memorized now. So inshallah, memorize it. The next time you go into the market, please say it. Okay? So more important etiquettes, it's an obligation to seek halal and avoid the haram. Hadith in Bukhari and Muslim, الحرام بين والحلال بين وبينهما أمور متشابهات. So leave whatever that causes you doubt, leave it, or like the Prophet ﷺ says also, O people, inna Allah tayyib, Allah is good, Allah is pure, Allah is pleasant, and he only accepts that which is tayyib. Tayyib is good and pure of evil and corruption. Do not cheat. I think we already covered this hadith. I think we covered everything on this slide. Avoid overpraising a product to sell it and depraising a product to get it for a cheaper price. So this is, like the psychological tricks that makes people buy what they are not in need of. Psychological tricks that makes people buy what they are not in need of. So I recently went and bought a phone, right? And when I bought the phone, they sell you this package, this bundle, and the bundle was really expensive. But the guy, he says, guess what? This is the original price. But then I'm going to give you 25%, so 35% here, this is percent here. Now it was this price, and guess what? Now you're going to get it for this price. And by the time he goes through all these numbers, what happens to my brain? I registered the high price and I registered the low price. And then I'm thinking, if I'm getting it for this price, then I'm getting a deal. So I ended up buying it. I bought into it. Couple of days passed and I'm thinking, this is useless. I will never use this one. I do not need this right now. And this is actually inconvenient. So all 3 items that were in the bundle were not important to me. So I took it back. And the guy is trying to change my mind so I don't have to return it. And he says to me, I don't like it when the cord holds me back. And because of it, justifying that I purchased this item for $100 simply because I don't like the way the cord holds me back. And wallahi, I was thinking, it sucks to be a consumer. It sucks, subhanallah. Like, you are bombarded with all these things that tell you it's easier. It's like, for God's sake, the cord is this much. Like, how am I inconvenienced by tilting this way a little bit? How is that inconveniencing me? You know? Anyways, can you imagine how much is sold to us? Where our hard-earned money is gone to, and it's like just tricks, you know? So I don't know if this fits in this. It's not considered cheating, because if you buy it, you agreed. There's nothing wrong with it, right? And you like that. You like it and you bought it. But being mindful when a home market is based on things like that. You know, if something is haram, then selling it is also haram. Obviously, this goes to alcohol, this goes to riba, this goes to anything that we are pork. If we're not allowed to sell and buy that which is haram for us. And then if you know about an item has been stolen, then selling it or buying it is also haram. Now here, if you're a trustworthy person, if you're trustworthy in your transactions, the honest, trustworthy businessman is with the prophets, truthful ones, and martyrs, meaning in the akhirah and in Jannah. So if you're involved in buying and selling or in dealing in any transaction, if you're honest and truthful about it, then you are going to be in the day of judgment in Jannah. You'll be with those people, the prophets, the truthful, the sadiqeen, wal-shuhada. Forgiving alone and being easy with others when selling and buying grants you the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, but if he is in hardship, فَنَظَرَةٌ إِلَى مَيْسَرَةٍ, but to forgive it as a charity is better for you, and if you only knew. Now, say you lend somebody money, and that person, you know they have been struggling to pay you back, and then you just tell them, you know what, don't worry about it, I have forgiven it for you. You don't have to do that, but these earn you brownie points, right? This increases your barakah, this is your sadaqah for you, this is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praises, okay? This is something Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praises. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. What are some lessons and reflections that are resonating with you when it comes to the surah? Some lessons, reflections that are resonating with you when it comes to the surah. How do I move this down a little? Okay, so mashallah, you guys had some good stuff here. Greed is also from shaitan to make us fear and losing. As a result, greed is born. Yes, absolutely. And we all have a certain level of greed. We have to work on it. It's a disease of the heart, it's a disease of the heart, and we all need to work on it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ يُوقَ شُحَّ نَفْسِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. Those who are protected from the greed of their own nafs, then those are the successful ones, right? So we all have it, but we just need to work on it. And obviously, a place where you're earning money increases it even more, So thank you for bringing that up. Yes, it goes back to mindfulness. When we are not, we are easily tricked. Absolutely. I can't believe it took an hour to complete Surat AlMutafifeen. When I taught it in the live class, you guys, it used to take a couple of weeks. I remember it took 3 or 4 weeks with one class because of all the discussions and all the questions that were coming up. Someone said credit cards are haram even if you pay them in full. Now, credit cards, because you're agreeing to pay a certain level of interest, because of it, some scholars consider it completely haram. Other scholars, I remember listening to Sheikh Yasser Birjaz, Sheikh Yasser Qadi, credit cards have become a necessity in our time and day. So what you are supposed to do is, yes, if you use it, make sure that you pay it in full before the due date. Make sure you pay it in full before you accrue the interest. And they explain how it is okay. Actually, he explained, a man came to the Prophet ﷺ and he said, I'm trying to buy, I don't know the exact reasoning, this requires a business or what do you call money class, economics class. But I remember Sheikh Yasir Qadi explaining from the seerah how using credit cards has been made okay, but you must avoid the interest. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for us. Because it's also one of those tricks. I was reading the other day about how a person who will put scarcity mindset, so buying things when you actually don't have the money for it. They tell you, you can put it on our credit card and we'll give you 1 year free interest. Many of us take advantage of that. But what happened to having the money and then buying what you need? Does that make sense? So it's another one of those tricks that is used. Someone told me credit cards, okay, it really stressed me out. I mean, okay, stressed you out. Buying what is necessary for us. That's what I'm going to say. Buying what is necessary. Any other thoughts, questions? What has come up for you? Yes. We have everything we need, yet we want more. Absolutely. Yes. Okay, you guys tell me if this is a need or a want, okay? Our couches are done for. They're completely done. And we're still, I bought this cover slip and I put it on there. My husband and I went and we bought new couches, and he was traveling, and I was like, you know what? These couches are so nice, but they were too expensive. I wasn't comfortable with how much we paid for that. So I called and I returned them, and they came and they picked them up, and I just went back to our regular couches, and instead I bought this slip and I put it on there, and they just don't look nice at all. They're ugly. They're really ugly. But we still sit on them. We have couches, and the day I returned them, wallahi, I was thinking, Khaltoon, so what, if you were on the ground? It's okay. Do you really need to have couches? But are couches a need or a want? Buy new couches, Khaltoon? I thought you just said necessities and wants and needs. Is it a need or is it a want? Who decides it's a need or a want? If they need to be replaced, then it's a need. Okay. You guys are like my mom. She was so annoyed with my couches, and I'm like, I'm comfortable. They're ugly, but I'm comfortable. They were leather, so they started to shed, right? I think that's why I'm saying they could not be used anymore. You could sit on the floor, but alhamdulillah that you have the means to get new ones. Yes. You see? Buy the new couches and give sadaqah. Alhamdulillah. We have to buy the couches. Actually, it's just, I don't know when we're going to go and buy them. But the ones we got, you guys, they were so amazing. They were too big for our living room. And they were one of those that extend, and like every section, like every chair, like every part of it would extend electrically. Like, they were beautiful. And they were so soft. They were so soft. And I was thinking, you know what? Ya Allah, I want to get better couches in Jannah. I'm going to return these. Yes, I think you came over and sat on them. Yes, mashallah. It would be israf to keep changing. And there are people that see it as a necessity. You know, they tell you, and you know what? How do you determine what is considered israf? Israf is considered based on your earnings, based on your ability. If I am somebody who earns 30K a year and you earn 130K a year, for you, it might not be israf to buy new couches every 2-3 years, because for you, you make more money, it's okay, right? So that's, it's like going out to eat for you. You know what I mean? Like, we don't consider that israf, do we? No. But if you do it all the time, like, what is considered israf? It depends on your own means and your own ability. Israf is like going above and beyond, like crossing the boundaries. Israf is when you do too much of something. Allah does not love those who do israf. Israf is when you spend outside of what is necessary. But everybody's, what is necessary for them depends on their earnings as well. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, guys. I think we can go ahead and end it. I am so amazed that this took an hour. Alhamdulillah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it beneficial. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us and give us insight and awareness to our own selves, so that we may rectify the parts of ourselves that this surah is addressing. Ya Rabbil Alameen. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. You all have a wonderful day.